In 2016, thousands of Americans logged onto the internet in complete disbelief. They remembered something impossible. They remembered legendary boxer Muhammad Ali dying years earlier than he actually did. But that was only the beginning. Millions of people around the world shared memories that did not match reality. They remembered the children's book series as the Berenstain Bears. Reality said it had always been the Berenstain Bears. They remembered Darth Vader saying, "Luke, I am your father." But in the real movie, he never said that line. The actual quote was, "No, I am your father." People swore the Monopoly Man wore a monocle. He never did. Some remembered a cornucopia behind the Fruit of the Loom logo. It apparently never existed. The strangest part? These weren't isolated mistakes. Millions of people shared the exact same false memories. How? Was it mass confusion, a glitch in human memory, or something far stranger? Some believe these moments are evidence that reality itself has changed, that somewhere, somehow, humanity crossed from one universe into another. And the name for this terrifying phenomenon came from a man who never should have died, Nelson Mandela.
The story begins with one of the most famous political leaders in modern history. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years imprisoned under apartheid in South Africa. By the 1980s, he had become an international symbol of resistance and freedom. But in the early 2000s, a strange conversation started appearing online. Thousands of people claimed they remembered Mandela dying in prison during the 1980s. Not vaguely, specifically. They remembered televised funeral coverage, news anchors, riots in South Africa. Some even remembered speeches by his widow. There was only one problem. Mandela had not died in prison. He was released in 1990. He later became president of South Africa, and he died in 2013 at the age of 95. So why did so many people remember a completely different history? The term Mandela effect was eventually coined by paranormal researcher Fiona Broom after she discovered that many others shared the exact same memory. What started as an internet curiosity quickly became a global phenomenon. Forums exploded. Videos gained millions of views. People began comparing memories. And the deeper they looked, the stranger things became.
At first, psychologists thought the answer was simple. Human memory is flawed. Very flawed. Memories are not recordings like a video camera. Every time people remember something, the brain reconstructs the event from fragments. This means memories can change over time. Researchers have demonstrated this repeatedly in experiments. One of the most famous psychologists connected to memory research was Elizabeth Loftus. Her studies showed that entirely fake memories could be implanted into people's minds. In one experiment, participants were convinced they had once been lost in a shopping mall as children. Many later described the fake event in vivid detail. Some even added emotional details that never happened. The brain, it turns out, is incredibly vulnerable to suggestion. But critics of the standard explanation pointed out something unusual about the Mandela effect. People weren't just remembering random things incorrectly. They often remembered the same incorrect details. And sometimes those details were incredibly specific. That raised an unsettling question. How could millions of strangers share identical false memories?
One of the most famous examples involves a beloved American children's book series, the Berenstain Bears. Or at least, that's what reality says it's called. Millions insist they grew up reading the Berenstain Bears. Parents remember pronouncing it Berenstain. Children remember classroom readings. Teachers remember it too. Yet every official record shows the name has always been Berenstain. Old books, TV adaptations, copyright records, everything. For believers in alternate realities, this became one of the strongest cases. Because .Stein is a far more common surname ending than .Stain, many argued that the brain may simply have autocorrected the spelling over time. But for others, that explanation felt too convenient, especially when similar memory discrepancies continued appearing everywhere. Hollywood became ground zero for Mandela effects. People confidently quoted movie lines that apparently never existed. One famous example came from Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Most Americans remember Darth Vader saying, "Luke, I am your father." But the actual line is, "No, I am your father." Another example came from Casablanca. People remember, "Play it again, Sam." The line is never spoken in the film. Then there was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Many remember the evil queen saying, "Mirror, mirror on the wall." But in the original film, the line is, "Magic mirror on the wall." The pattern became impossible to ignore. Entire generations remembered alternate versions of famous scenes. Was this just the brain simplifying information, or was something rewriting history itself?
Before the internet, people rarely compared tiny details of old memories. But online communities changed everything. Reddit threads gained millions of views. YouTube channels dedicated entire careers to Mandela effect theories. People began cataloging hundreds of examples, logos, maps, brand names, historical events, even human anatomy. Some believed geography itself had changed. Others claimed entire continents appeared in slightly different locations than they remembered from childhood maps. The phenomenon became deeply emotional for many participants because memories are tied to identity. When reality contradicts memory, the experience can feel genuinely disturbing, and for some people, terrifying.
Eventually, conspiracy theories entered the picture. One organization became central to countless Mandela effect discussions: CERN. CERN operates the world's largest particle accelerator, Large Hadron Collider. Located beneath the border of Switzerland and France, the collider smashes particles together at enormous speeds to study the nature of reality itself. In 2012, CERN scientists confirmed the discovery of the Higgs boson particle, sometimes nicknamed the God particle. For conspiracy theorists, this timing was suspicious. Many claimed Mandela effects increased dramatically after major CERN experiments. The theory? Particle collisions somehow damaged reality, or opened portals between universes, or merged timelines together. Scientists rejected these claims completely. There is no evidence CERN altered reality, but the idea spread rapidly online because it tapped into a deeper fear. What if reality is more fragile than we think?
The Mandela effect became linked to one of the strangest scientific ideas ever proposed: many worlds interpretation. The many worlds interpretation suggests that every quantum event creates branching realities. In one universe, a coin lands heads. In another, tails. If true, there could be infinite versions of reality existing simultaneously. Some Mandela effect believers theorize that consciousness may somehow shift between these universes. Perhaps tiny differences remain after these shifts. A logo changes, a movie quote changes, a historical event changes. Most physicists reject using quantum mechanics to explain the Mandela effect. But quantum theory is already bizarre enough to inspire endless speculation. Because modern physics genuinely suggests reality is far stranger than common sense.
One Mandela effect became legendary online. Millions remembered a 1990s movie called Shazam, starring comedian Sinbad. In the memory, Sinbad played a magical genie. People remembered scenes, costumes, commercials. Yet no such movie exists. The confusion likely came from another genie film, Kazam, which starred basketball player Shaquille O'Neal. But many insisted that explanation was wrong. They vividly remembered both movies separately. The Shazam mystery became one of the internet's most famous collective false memories, and even Sinbad himself eventually joked about it online because so many people believed it.
Psychologists believe several mechanisms may explain Mandela effects. Confabulation. The brain fills missing information automatically. Social reinforcement. When people hear others repeating the same memory, confidence increases. Schema theory. The brain organizes information into patterns. Berenstein feels more natural than Berenstain. Luke, I am your father makes more sense outside the context of the movie scene. Source confusion. People often remember information but forget where they learned it. A parody can be confused with the original source. This happens constantly in modern media culture. Over time, altered versions of quotes become more famous than the originals.
Despite scientific explanations, the Mandela effect refuses to disappear because emotionally it feels real, very real. People trust memory deeply. When reality contradicts memory, it creates cognitive shock. Some philosophers argue this reveals something profound. Human beings do not experience objective reality directly. We experience interpretations created by the brain. In a sense, everyone already lives inside their own constructed version of reality. That realization alone is unsettling enough. But for believers in simulation theory, the Mandela effect suggests something even darker. Perhaps reality itself is being edited, like software updates inside a giant cosmic program. This idea became connected to Nick Bostrom and his famous simulation hypothesis. If reality were simulated, glitches might occasionally appear. Memories might not perfectly synchronize after updates. It sounds like science fiction, yet some scientists and philosophers genuinely debate whether simulated realities could someday become technologically possible.
The Mandela effect exploded particularly strongly in the United States for several reasons. America has one of the world's largest shared media cultures. Millions watched the same movies, read the same books, saw the same advertisements. That creates massive overlapping memories. At the same time, American culture has long embraced conspiracy theories. From Roswell incident to Apollo 11 moon landing, conspiracies have remained deeply embedded in American storytelling. The Mandela effect combined nostalgia, mystery, fear, and internet culture into one perfect phenomenon. And social media amplified it endlessly, because every new example triggered debate. Wait, I remember it that way too.
For some people, Mandela effects became psychologically overwhelming. Online forums filled with users questioning reality itself. Some developed intense anxiety. Others became obsessed with finding proof that timelines had changed. Mental health experts warned that deep immersion in alternate reality theories could increase paranoia in vulnerable individuals, especially during periods of stress or uncertainty. The human brain desperately seeks patterns, and once people begin searching for reality glitches, they often start seeing them everywhere.
The Mandela effect reveals something important about modern civilization. Human memory is no longer private. The internet allows billions of people to compare memories instantly. For the first time in history, collective memory itself became visible and surprisingly unreliable. This has major implications far beyond internet mysteries. Eyewitness testimony, political narratives, historical interpretation, media influence. The Mandela effect reminds us that memory can feel absolutely certain while still being wrong. That truth is uncomfortable, but deeply human.
Scientists overwhelmingly reject supernatural explanations for the Mandela effect. There is no evidence of alternate universes merging with ours. No evidence CERN changed timelines. No proof reality is glitching. But science does confirm something equally fascinating. Human consciousness is astonishingly imperfect. Memory is dynamic, emotional, reconstructive, and socially influenced. The Mandela effect may ultimately reveal more about the human brain than the universe itself. Yet the mystery remains emotionally powerful because memory defines identity. If memories can't always be trusted, what else might humans misunderstand about reality?
Tonight, somewhere in America, someone will rewatch an old movie and feel a chill run down their spine. A line they would swear existed suddenly doesn't. A childhood logo looks wrong. A memory no longer matches reality. Most people laugh it off, but others stare at the screen wondering, what if I remember a different world? Maybe the Mandela effect is simply psychology. Maybe it's the strange architecture of human memory. Or maybe reality is far stranger than humanity is prepared to understand. Because the most terrifying possibility is not that memories are broken. It's that reality itself might not be fixed at all. And if history can change without anyone noticing, how would we ever know?